Travis went good zone. I don't know if I'll post this tonight or if I'll have it posted tomorrow morning for tomorrow's video. There really wasn't any church news today. The prophets went silent ever since the missionary raped somebody. So yeah, that was kind of humiliating. The church again was pushing on the church news from last Saturday with their anti-porn convention about how evil women are and how we can't even look at them at any stage of dress. Vilifying women, vilifying women's bodies, saying that it's a danger and a threat and it'll kill people. And then the actual threat is the church. Denying sex ed, denying science, denying truth, denying reality, denying women. It was just utter humiliation for the prophets who are trying so hard to overthrow this government, and it's just not working. You have a summer left, Mormons. If you're gonna live in denial land, if you're gonna not believe, if you're gonna throw my seed to the wayside, if you're gonna try to confuse it with thorny or rocky soil of lies or denialism, it's on you. I've already done the research. I already produced the fruits. I've already tasted the fruits. I already know it's true. You didn't even bother. You just attack. You got nothing. And so, you've been spared another summer. But in the fall, we are told that'll be it. Everything is already being put into position for your utter destruction. It was in the Book of Mormon. What did you think the Book of Mormon was for you about? What is the ending of the Book of Mormon? What is the condemnation for the Book of Mormon? So, Child of Faith wants my little reference book. Are you sure you want all of it, or is it just certain things that I talk about in the video? I've added more mental, psychological name calling. Nut, nuts, fruit, fruity, batty, loony. All mean the same thing as retarded. I have progressives versus MAGA. I've never talked about that. I don't know if that's what you'd be interested in either. But supersessionism with revisionist history, religious cleansing. I have videos of that. I have the video clips of each of those. But I'm pretty sure that it was the 1838 history, plus the new one that I did this morning from what I've done in my videos. But Mormons think that they can be saved in ignorance, that if they just don't watch, they will not be held accountable. And unfortunately, if you willingly know that there's information for you to obtain and you refuse to obtain it, thinking that you will not be held accountable if you don't obtain it, you're under condemnation anyway. So, oops, too late. You know you're not going to be saved in ignorance. Why do you do it? Because somebody started it 20, 30 years ago, and it spread like wildfire. I think it was John By the Way, especially for youths. I think he was the one that started it. He was doing it as a joke, because his actual message was, you know, but you don't know you know. See, Mormons have no problem with those who have no authority and create their own doctrines. But when it's somebody who's not faith promoting, who tells Mormons that they're wicked, yeah, no, they don't want to give them of their substance. They want to give somebody their substance of whom pacifies, flatters, and deceives them, and claims to have the titles, but denies the power thereof. They don't want somebody with actual powers. But yeah, 1838. All you guys had to do was study. Say, Exmo Lex did a video today I saw. She's not verified. YouTube. She's already well on her way to getting tens of thousands of views. But it was about how another reason why she left the church, which had to do with the Native American Indians being abused by the church. When the church keeps claiming, oh, anytime now, it's going to be soon when the Indians are going to blossom as a rose. Any day now, it's going to happen. Oh, anytime. It's so soon. In the coming days. And no, the church won't touch them. Won't lift a finger. They just give fish on occasion to make a press appearance, to make it look like they're charitable. But no, you've got to invest in people to pull them out of poverty. The church will not do that. And that's the fault of if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. That's false. You shouldn't do that either. You got to invest in a person. It's far more than just teaching them. Investing means you provide or have made available, using the analogy, the body of water with an ample supply of healthy fish. And so part of the education is to teach him not to fish all the fish out of the water so that the fish go extinct. You got to teach him about sex ed for fishies. And all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a whole lot more involved with investment that little thing is leaving out. And that's why there's so much poverty in the world, is because those with the money have the power and they refuse to invest in people to pull them out of poverty. Because for some reason they think that if they have everybody become rich, that they won't be rich. But yeah, it's mostly a greed thing, that once they get the money, they don't want to give it up to others. And then they start accusing other people of being lazy and thieves, and so then they protect their money and nobody else can touch it. So yeah, our world is descended into hell, utter destruction, because you refuse to take care of the poor. It's not about giving charity to the poor. Malachi, when it talks about tithing, it's talking about food and animals to the storehouses. And so the poor are getting actual food. They're getting actual animals. And so, like the fish, You're investing in the poor when you give charity from tithing. It's a completely different concept than Section 119 that Brigham Young created. I mean, Joseph Smith created in 1838, but then didn't follow it after he got back out of Liberty Jail. That was your first big clue, Expo Never Mows, and you fell for it. You didn't follow the money. You didn't do a thorough research into church history. You heard somebody's journal say that Joseph Smith is one of these abominations, and you went with it. And so I don't know if Expo Lex blames Joseph for it. She was only referring to the quote by Spencer W. Kimball. And so as long as she stuck with Spencer W. Kimball and his abomination, which, yeah, I'm still suspicious. I think John D. Lee was set up and framed after excommunication, because that's exactly what Mormons do. They have to prove the church true, and so, you know, he demanded that the church do more to have the Indians blossom as a rose, and George Peely, isn't it? Peely. Ely is Senator Lee's third great grandfather. So George Peely, right? Native American Indian, member of the 70. But yeah, the church excommunicated him. How dare you tell us what to do? Just like the bishop who said, hey, can you provide a list of questions for bishops so that they don't go graphic sexually with little kids? How dare you tell us what to do? You're excommunicated. And then they went and did it after the Protect LDS Children movement. And then they now have lowered the age of child brides to 11. Arizona tried to do it to 10. Those Mormons. You see, when a religion just teaches its members to love and to be good people, perfectly fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a religion like that. That's what the Boy Scouts was intended to be. That's what Freemasonry was intended to be in its origin. How to make good people better. And unfortunately, we're realizing that religions are incapable of teaching love and people to be good. They have to go extremist. And once you do that, that's Mormons' exclusive doctrine on the plan of Lucifer's happiness. Take away agency. When you abuse your membership to obey you, you're not being a good person. You're not teaching love. You're leading by fear and abuse. And especially when you implement your religion on people who are not affiliated with your religion. It's even worse, because now you're a threat. You're a terroristic threat when you demand that other people conform and comply to your for strength of youth standards and values. When you demand that other people deny art, science, logic, education, and human beings to abuse. And speaking of porn, and so, yeah, religion is revealed as extremist the more that they try to force others to accept and conform and comply to their religion. So, for example, Mormons, when looking for a job, tried to force the business not to work on Sundays. Saying, I can't work on Sunday. If you want to hire me, you can't have me work on Sunday. You are forcing your religion upon other people that are not your religion. You don't even know the origin of the Sabbath day. Oh, it's the Bible, Travis. No. Babylon. You know, the whore that John in Revelation says she is. That Joseph Smith, the Book of Mormon, says it is. Babylon. And of course, they're not talking about Babylon. They're talking about a future Babylon symbol. The great and abominable church. Babylon was already long destroyed. Sacred clothing. And people are kind of ignorant about Islamic sacred clothing because there's a certain headdress that when worn indicates that they are in the process of a hijab, what's it called? A holy war. And so yeah, you're seeing Islamic extremists pushing to wear their military headdress. Canada had some problems with a government official who wore it, and the Canadians knew what it meant. So yeah, and enforcing the Islamist agenda upon our governments and our school systems, that's out of line. If you're unhappy with Israel, then you go and you protest Israel. You leave America, you leave the rest of the world alone. And if America decides to support Israel and not the Gazan people, you can't deny October 7th. You cannot deny your own origin of Islam. The great anti-Semite, Muhammad. You got to know your religion. And you got to tell the truth to other people about your religion. But again, like I said, if Islam was only about the preaching of love and being a good person, I had no problem with it. But the Quran teaches to hate. The Quran teaches to be an enemy threat. Despite what they insist on telling you when you confront them on that. Right, Christians? Yep, you too. The Bible is not yours. It's the Jews. You stole it. And then you reinterpreted it as Christian with the first creed of Christianity. And so you are not teaching love. You are not good people. Because automatically, by being born or converted to Christianity, you are an anti-Semite, just like all of Islam. And so, yeah, clothing has been used as a religious weapon to force other people to conform and comply to your religion. I cannot work here if I cannot wear my religious clothing. It's not the uniform of the company. So if your religion is so insistent on being xenophobic, then you need to create your own society, isolated from the rest of the world. And obviously you can't do any trade because we're all heathens. Gotta be like the Amish. Live as backward people refusing to embrace new technologies. Forcing it on others not to have the new technologies because they're evil and porn. It's a real simple thing. And then of course prayers. Islamists are the most devious on that. I need to take a break, manager, supervisor. I've got to go pray. Which way is east? hired to do a job, and you're trying to force your company to conform and comply to your religious standards and values. And so the cake baking, I'm sorry, our religion hates gay people, and so we do not approve of your civil marriage, and so we are not baking you a cake because it's against our religious beliefs. You are not loving, you are not being good people, you are forcing others to accept your religious beliefs. You are an extremist terrorist, an anti-American. Because religious freedom is not freedom of religion to deprive other people of religion or to force your religion on other people. Right, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? State of Utah, the government. We all know that the majority of them are Mormon in the legislature, and the governor, and the lieutenant governor, and many of the city officials and county officials are all Mormon, and so they enforce on the people Mormon standards and values. That's why there was the Zion Curtain. That's why we don't work on Sundays. If you're a Mormon business. My dad got a job working for Rhodes Bakery before he retired. And he was Mormon that owned the company there. And so when my dad went to apply for the job and was hired, my dad was told that every Monday he has to go home early for family home evening. There's no working on Sunday. So it's just corrupt. And yeah, the Jews make it tough too with the Orthodox Jews. They too have been deceived by Roman Emperor Constantine and have misinterpreted their Bible as a result of it. They're looking beyond the mark. They don't understand what it's talking about, even though they are forced to memorize. See, the method of learning for the Jews is repetition, repeating things over and over and over and over again. And that process of memorization is what helps them. But they do not understand that that came from the law of the Jews about their future Christ, who is to be a man like Moses. And so everybody who wrote scripture back then in the Roman period of time wrote their protagonist as a man like Moses because of the law of the Jews in Deuteronomy 18:15 through 19. And every Mormon should know that scripture. It's a scripture mastery for both the Old Testament and church history and the New Testament and the Book of Mormon. It's just that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints says that that Christ is Jesus. When the Book of Mormon says it's in the learning of the Jews, you become an anti-Semite when you say Jesus, when you say Christianity. You spit on Joseph Smith when his first vision makes it very clear it ain't Jesus. Christianity is an abomination. Christianity created Jesus. And then you would say, well, the name of the church right there in verse 1 says it's the Church of Jesus Christ, Travis. Explain it. And I just simply respond, did you even bother to go to the Joseph Smith papers? Well, we don't have to. The prophets didn't say there was any changes needed. They didn't make any changes. They're not changing at the pulpit of conference. They're saying it's the Church of Jesus Christ. You never did look at the Joseph Smith papers, did you? And you think you're going to be saved in ignorance, are you? Do ya? It tells you who the evil-disposed and designing militant person is, and thus who that group of evil-disposed and designing militant persons are. Right there in the Joseph Smith papers. And then you see that Joseph Smith even prophesied that he and his group are the enemy, and that they will murder Joseph Smith. 19 July 1840. Joseph Smith papers. I've been telling you over and over again all these years, despite YouTube with AI silencing me and censoring me. You just won't listen. And so, yeah, the Book of Mormon is plagiarized. Phone never mows. Good job. But you hastily concluded. The plagiarism is the Jewish learning of repetition so that they can learn. And that's why the Exodus is plagiarized in the Book of Mormon. Does it say who the author of that was? So there's Joseph Smith Sr.'s Tree of Life dream, plagiarized in the Book of Mormon. Lehi's Journey. Let's check this one. And if you understood about the Sabbath day and its actual origins, then you'd be going, hey, wait a minute, why is Abinadi condemning the priests of King Noah for not keeping the Sabbath day holy? They're not supposed to know about it. Yep, here it is. Grant Palmer is the one who apparently created this document on the Exodus plagiarisms. And so Moses writes Egyptian, is wealthy, must leave it all behind and flee for his life. Nephi writes Egyptian, family is wealthy, must leave it all behind and flee for his life. Moses kills an Egyptian man and later becomes a prophet. Nephi kills Laban, an Egyptian man, later becomes a prophet. Grant, who owned the land of Judah? It wasn't Babylon. Well, yeah, but barely. That first year, it just finally became under Babylonian control. So who was in control prior to that first year? Egypt. Grant, God, you're not doing your research. And so, yeah, I had to do the Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. Because he doesn't say later becomes a prophet. No, the prophet. Not a, the. So I had to do that video. Because nobody else had caught on that this is why there's the plagiarism. So yeah, all over the stuff. And he thinks that Exodus 13:18 is talking about the Red Sea. Oh, Grant, so silly. It's the Red Sea, Grant. It's the Egyptian afterlife. But there's more to it if you're going to go to the Egyptian, because then it also has to do with baby making and creation and Lilith. You know, you got all these people who do this kind of stuff, and everybody thinks that they're the authority. And then I do this, and Mormon crickets flood the land. I can't help you if you refuse to be helped. It's all on you. That's the thing you don't understand. All the people that hate me, all the people that wish I would die and go away, leave you alone to practice your religious freedom of denying Joseph Smith his religious freedom, of lying to other people to force them to believe your lies and abominations and your denialisms of the truth, threatening people that when they read something, you then say they're wrong. It says the learning of the Jews. No, Christian! Gonna hurt you. It's not nice. That's the one and only one commandment. Well, sex, but love. But sex has to be done with love. That's why there's adultery in the Ten Commandments. It's because if you loved your wife, or your husband, you wouldn't be cheating and planting your seed in other men's property. That's what it was in the Roman period of time. Mahana, you ugly. Get down here for the disobedient girl. So, yeah, I'm just the messenger. But you were warned. If you do not listen to true prophets, even when they're condemning you for your wickedness, if you refuse to humble yourself and repent of your wickedness, and refuse to stop condemning people as wicked when they're not wicked, I've been getting a lot of those. People who accuse me of being the sinner, of being the apostate, of being the anti-Mormon, antichrist, Korahor. When all I'm doing is reading from the scriptures and from Joseph Smith. I've studied my scriptures. I have associative memory, so I'm able to tie all the scriptures together into one. I'm able to do the research. See, this collection, this was just from associative memory. There is no actual official thesis paper. I'm able to cheat with associative memory. But, yeah, if I were to do the actual process and show my work, yeah, it would look a little more official than this, but similar to this. That's why I have to write it out, is because if you notice going back in time to my videos, when I do talk about this stuff, it's usually a few or one or two per video. And when I talk about it again, generally, the 1838 coup, I don't list everything that I previously talked about because I didn't have it written down and wasn't referring to it. And so yeah, you gotta watch all my videos and put them all together. And I just surpassed 3.8K today. So, well, View of the Hebrews is not plagiarized in the Book of Mormon, guys. Did you even bother to do the research to find out if it was plagiarized? Nope. You just got the general story. Didn't even bother to read the book, apparently, because I read the book and I couldn't find a match with the Book of Mormon. It's an interesting read. The Book of Mormon's more exciting. That's Solomon Spaulding. He really knows how to write. It's too bad he died before his book got published. And so, yeah, everybody accuses Sidney Rigdon of stealing it. How did he steal it? The guy was dead. People just jump to conclusions to try to vilify the innocent and thus de-vilify those who are the enemy. That's what Exfo Nevermos are doing. When you blame Joseph Smith, you're vindicating Brigham Young. You're letting Brigham Young get away with it. Brigham Young was just following the orders of Joseph Smith. There's nothing he could do about it. Jesus has to have his laws kept the same all the time. He can never change, so blacks can never have the priesthood because they're fence sitters. They can never get it. Jesus is firm on this. He won't change. Women can never have the priesthood again. I mean, get it, ever. Joseph Smith didn't give it to him on 17th of March, 1842. Nope. Women can never have it. So yeah, Oakes is next, women. Oakes was the one. I have the videos. If Nelson somehow dies this summer, I'm all set to go for Oakes. If you've not been watching and seeing my clips on Nelson all these years, only the others get covered if the topic of the video is about him. And so yeah, if I'm talking about Bruce R. McConkie, I'll put in his clips. If I'm talking about Armageddon, I'll put in Bruce R. McConkie and Hinckley. So I've been doing my videos. I don't have to alter what they say. They say it all very plain and precious. It's very clear. See if you get confused on what this means, Mormons. This council in the valley of Adam-on-Diamond is to be of the greatest importance to this world. At that time, there will be a transfer of authority from the usurper and impostor Lucifer to the rightful king, Jesus Christ. Is there any confusion about what that just said? What is this authority that Lucifer has? It's under the thrones to be cast down right before that. Then he shall give the government to the saints of the Most High. Satan shall hold rule in the nations of the earth. Then he shall give the government to the saints. There's a lot of different governments around the world. Or is it just America? O Babylon, we bid thee farewell. We're going to the mountains of Ephraim to dwell. Yeah, this church claims that Babylon is not the great and abominable church, but is the United States of America. And you don't see how that cannot be a good religion, a religion that teaches love. You seriously are going to play dumb on that. The overthrow of the government so that your religion can reign supreme over people who are not of your religion and force them to your religion. You know, like the Christian church and Islamist churches did. See, the Book of Mormon talks about how the Lamanites tried to steal the records of the Nephites and destroy them to deny history. And yet that's exactly what the Catholic Church did to the Aztecs. Those heathens, we got to destroy their records. But weren't they supposed to be the Lamanites? It's the Catholics who are the Lamanites. Interesting. Interesting. The Aztecs were the Nephites. They weren't so dark after all. It was the white Catholics of the Spaniards who were the dark ones. Yep. Too many people make too many errors by not studying. That's all you had to do. You keep on going. But we're not taught in the school systems. Logical Socratic methodology, theory development, science-based, to run tests. And then you get shows that are sci-fi like Star Trek who don't follow logic, even though they claim they're following logic as Vulcans. And they don't use science-based reality. Well, there's this new theory that just barely came out that says this might be the case. And look, our show proves it's true because it happened. We're done. You have a summer left, Mormons. What are you going to do?